Hello, we are back to complete SQL 15. So in the last video, we went over question 1 to question 14, which means today we will start basic aggregate functions, starting at this question, not boring movies. Alright, so let me just think about something. If I did 14, there is 36 left, 5, let's say generously 5 minutes a question. So it's 50, 100, 150. 180, 175, 180. Alright, so let's just do 120 and see what I get. Alright. Yeah, okay, 180. So the table is cinema. We have 4 attributes, an ID being an integer, a movie and a description both being variable chars, a rating being of type float. We're given a little more information. ID is the primary key for this table. Each row contains information about a movie. Okay. Write a solution to report the movies with an odd numbered ID and a description that is not boring. Also, return the table ordered by rating in descending order. Okay, that's honestly very simple. We need to select everything from the table. Okay, so select, if I could spell early in the morning, select star from the table. We only have one table, so cinema, where we will do some of the modulus operators. So remember, modulus operator gives us remainder. So if we took the ID and we did modulus 2, we could effectively check the remainder. So if I did that, I only want where the solution is an odd numbered ID, so which means it is not an even number, so that's the one I need to write. And description is not equal to boring. If look at our description, they tend to be one word, or at least a description. They don't seem to be multiple elements, but rather single elements, if that makes sense. Where description is not equal to boring, and B-O-R-I-N-G, yeah. And finally, we'll order by rating in descending order. And there we go. Alright, so let's go to the next one. Right? I didn't do a submission. This again, bane of my existence. Do not remind me. Alright, and let's go to the next question. I'll get rid of this. We have two tables. We have the table called prices, where product ID, start ID, and end date make up the primary key for the table. Each row of the table indicates the price of a product in the period from start date to end date. For each product ID, there will be no two overlapping periods, which simply means that there will be no two intersecting periods for the same product ID. So we will not have a confliction of price for a product. And we also have a table called units sold. This table may contain duplicate rows. Each row of this table indicates the date, units, and product ID of each product sold. We have to write a solution to find the average selling price for each product. And the price should be rounded to 2 decimal places. And then we have the result format here, with a product ID of 1 with an average price of $6.96, nice, and a product ID of 2 with an average price of $16.96. Alright, let's see. So we have an explanation that says average selling price of product 1 is 100 times 5, which is, let's see, here we go, 100. So product 1, 100, which would have been for the price 5, plus 15, so that one, times 20 makes sense, and then divided by 115, because 115 is the total products, and you will get 696. Okay, so we are going to have to join on these tables to make sure we get the correct dates from the tables. Is it going to be dates? Let me think. If I were to join you, I can join on product ID, that's right. I can also join on units. No, I can't join on units. The only two available columns I can join on are product ID and the purchase date. Let me do a little thinking out loud. I can join where the purchase date is greater and less than to ensure I am on that. And then I will join on the product ID. Let's try that. If I were to select, let's do select product ID, and let's see, this is going to be average price from, now this is going to be a little harder. Let's see, why don't I do this? If I were to select p.product ID and then p.price, as total sales, and let's do finally u.purchase date, PURCHASE underscore date from prices. Obviously I need to alias it, so from prices as P. I'll do a left join, so I grab the nulls. Let's do this ensures we actually have a correct date. And we need to do one more join condition, that's u.product ID is equal to p.product ID, and then we just order by p.product ID. And let's change that as altered group by product. Nah, haven't put my aggregate function yet, so this may not work. Unknown column u.purchase data. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It should be purchase date. Where did I mess up? Purchase date. The on clause is somewhere here. Okay, I see. Purchase date. This is actually what we want though. We'll have the product ID and its associated average price, but because we are doing group by, this will become 1, and then 2 will also become 1. So we'll only have 2 entries. Let's see. So I need the function. I know it's going to be, I don't think I can use average because I need to consider the null case. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's do an if null. I'll then do a round because I'm told I have to round. Sum total sales, so from that inner table where I have total sales, and then I will divide it by sum of units. That's right. And then as average price. That should work. Let's see. No. Oh, yeah, that's the issue. So right now I forgot to do my group by product ID. And okay, great. Pretty lengthy on that one, even though it was marked as easy. Definitely not an easy question in my opinion. Unless I'm just being silly. Let's go look at some other solutions. I don't even know what this means. I'm not going to bother looking at it. Let's come here. This is yeah, okay, this is definitely easier than my approach. This, they don't use a smaller table than me. So similar, but definitely easier than my approach. I still wouldn't say that this is an easy question. But anyway. Alright, project employees 1. The table name is project with 2 attributes, product ID and email ID, and then we have email ID on the employee table. Okay. Write a SQL query that reports the average experience years of all employees for each project rounded to 2 digits. Okay, that's easy. So select. What is 2? And then I will just group on the project ID. The project ID. Cool. A terrible time, but hey, it is what it is. Let's go to the next one. Percentage of users who attended a concert. Okay. We have 2 tables, users and register. So in the first table, we have user ID and username. In the second table, we have contest ID and user ID. And then write a solution to find the percentage of the users registered in each contest rounded to 2 decimal places. Return the table ordered by percentage in descending order. In case of a tie, order it by contest ID in ascending order. The result format is in the following example. Okay. So I'm going to have to do, because it says percentage, it's equivalent to counting and then dividing by that count and then multiplying that by 100. Okay. And then all I'll do is I will select count of user ID. From users. I'll also multiply it by 100 and I'll round by 2 as percentage from the users. But because I'm using data from 2 tables, in this case I will join a register on register dot user ID equal to users dot user ID group by register dot contest ID. And then this is the part that's most important, I would say. We order by percentage descending. In case of a tie, then we order by register dot contest ID ascending. Let's see. Now you're supposed to appear in the top right. There we go. I'm gonna move you. Can I move you off screen? No. I have an error somewhere. Okay. Round count users.user ID divided by select count of user ID from users. That should be fine. As percentage register. So the error in my SQL syntax near percentage. So it's before percentage. Okay. Let's see. I have an opening brace and a closing brace. So 1, 1, 2. It's there. There we go. In other news, I am not as sick as I was last video. That's a decent attempt. Let's see what's happening. CTE. I know what you are. What do you stand for? I forget what you stand for. Essentially creates a table at runtime that you can refer to. Let's look at this one. Dude, this is basically my one. This is not my one. Let's see. Select contest ID from. You did not do a group. I mean, you didn't do a join. Did I not need to join? Ah, who cares? Question for another day. Okay. We have one table called queries. This table may have duplicate rows. The table contains information collected from some queries on a database. The position column has a value of 1 to 500. The rating column has a value of 1 to 5, and queries with a rating less than 3 is a poor query. We define quality as the average of the ratio between query rating and its position. We also define poor query percentage as the percentage of all queries with a rating less than 3. We have to write a solution to find each query name, the quality and poor query percentage. Both quality and poor query percentage should be rounded to 2 decimal places. And we can return the table in any order. And then we have an example. That's honestly not too bad. We'll just use a case. So select. I'm going to do query name and then round the average rating divided by position, right, as quality. And I'll do another one. I will round Now this will be the fun one. Round case when rating is less than 3, then 1, else 0. And I'm missing something because that will not work now that I think about it. I need to do a sum. Yeah. So I'll still count it, but because the count is essentially 0, it will have no effect. Right. And then divide by count of, let me just count any of the rows. I'll count all the rows actually. It's the same as me getting the number of entries times 100 rounded by 2, and I'll close it off as poor query percentage. Alright, and then from queries, because you only have one table right now, but only do it where the query name is not null. Group by query name. Hey, there we go. And done. Let's go to the next one. Let me check something. Okay. Confirm. Here's the table. It's a medium, so it's this one, monthly transactions. Okay. ID is the primary key for this table. It has information about incoming transactions, and the state column is an enumerable type of approved or declined. Enumerables, user-defined types. I need to stretch. Oh, that's a good stretch. I went to the gym on Saturday. I was feeling much better. And then I think when I recorded the first SQL 50s video, what was that, Sunday or after gym on Saturday? I felt a little tired. But that's all good now. Let me think. I need to write a SQL query to find for each month the number of transactions, the total amount, and the number of approved transactions and their total amount. That's honestly a very simple question, because this one we don't have joins, we don't really have an if, we won't have what is the thingy, subqueries. So if I was to just do a select date format and then T1, actually I'm going to do this from transactions as T1. And I'll be honest with you, I need to stop this video because I need to poop. Alright, I would rate the poop a 4 out of 10. And if that does not make any sense to you, you are missing context from the prior video. So we stopped at monthly transactions 1. So we are on basic aggregate functions, this question right here. Let's get rid of it. Again, let me just read over everything. We have two tables, well, we have one table actually, transactions, and we have to write a SQL query to find for each month and country the number of transactions, the total amount, number of approved transactions, and that total amount. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to select anything. I will do a select from transactions. What's happening to me? Transactions. As I'm just going to say, let's go with it as T, okay? And now I'll come back up here just to make typing a little easier. I'll do date format. and I'll do t.transactions date, and I want the year and let's go, it should be month, and I'll call that as month. Let me just see that. No, I don't like that. All right. So date format, transactions date, year and month as month. I will do t.country. That's two simple ones. And now I'll do count of the ID. So it should be t.id as trans count. I'll come down here. I'll do a group by t.month and t.country. Still not done. And now we simply do the following. We'll do sum case when state is equal to approved. Then we count it as 1. Else we'll count it as 0 and we'll end as approved count. And then sum of amount. This one's simple, so we'll sum amount as transactions total amount. And we'll do another sums case. So sum case when state is equal to approved, then 1, else 0, end. APPROVED, right. As approved, APPROVED underscore approved total amount. Well, let me just see through this. So, when approved. Some case when state is equal to approved, then 1, else 0 as approved count. That's the issue. I'm missing that comma. I need to buy lead code premium. No. Unknown column T in group statement. Something wrong there. Let's see. If I come back. Date format T to transactions date, year month as month, country, the count of the ID. So what's missing is the approved total amount is wrong. Okay. Some case when state is equal to approved, then oh that's the issue because I just repeated. Then amount, else 0. Yeah, that should fix it. Hey, there we go. Very simple. So we only count when the state is approved, then we'll count it as 1, and we'll get the necessary values. And as with this one, if it's approved, then we'll count the actual amount, well, sum the actual amount, otherwise 0. All right, working, great. Immediate food delivery, is this the last one? Or, so it's 2 more here and then I'll stop. Immediate food delivery, let this be the table I work on. I'm going to remove my own comments. Cool, all right. We have a table called delivery. we are told delivery ID is a column of unique values for this table. It holds information about food delivery to customers that make orders at some date and specify a preferred delivery date on the same order date or after it. If the customer's preferred delivery date is the same as the order date, then it is an immediate order, otherwise it is called a scheduled order. The first order of a customer is the order with the earliest order date that the customer made. It is guaranteed that a customer has precisely one first order. I have to write a solution to find the percentage of immediate orders in the first orders of all customers rounded to 2 decimal places. Oh, okay, so essentially I must only consider first orders that happen to also be immediate orders. Okay, that's fine. And then I have my input table. I hate tables like this, and I have my output. Okay. So if I were to, let's see, if I were to average it, I would have to do it where customer preferred delivery date. Look at the table, order date, preferred date. I need to match that. Okay, that's easy. But I need the earliest date. So if I were to simply do select customer ID and minimum order date, so I'll get the first order dates from delivery. And if I group by customer ID, then this will give me, with each customer ID, the associated first order. Right. And here we go. So for each customer 1, 2, 3, and 4, I have their first orders. Cool, I'll use this as a subquery. And then what can I do? I'll have to take it as such. So select round, because you want me to round it, the average. And this should be simple. So it'll be order date is equal to customer preferred delivery date for delivery date, and then I'll multiply it by 100 and then round it by 2 as immediate percentage. Is that what they wanted? Immediate percentage, yeah, okay. From delivery, but only consider the dates where customer ID and order dates in this. So I'll just push that forward. And there we go. This one was honestly quite simple, because if you think about it, if you reduce the initial table to only consist of the customer's ID and the associated first order, you can now cross-check that smaller table to check if those first orders happen to be immediate orders. And if they are immediate orders, then you can do the average function on them and then just round it. And because we want a percentage, we have to multiply by 100. Quite simple, quite straightforward. The best questions are the ones that you can look at very quickly and surmise what they're actually asking you, effectively breaking down the problem. That looks like a very weird runtime. Did I get that before? 1339. No, I didn't. Not bad, but definitely not good. But anyway, let's go to the last one for today, which should be gameplay analysis IV. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to have some coffee. Let's see. So I only have one table, right, called activity. I have four attributes: a player ID, which is an integer, which is also, oh, it's not my primary key. Okay, so player ID is an integer, device ID is an integer, games played is an integer, event state is a date. Player ID and event date is a primary key. Okay, it shows the activity of players of some games. All right, each row is a record of a player who logged in and played a number of games, possibly 0 before logging out on some day using some device. Write a solution to report the fraction of players that logged in again on the day after the day they first logged in, rounded to 2 decimal places. In other words, you need to count the number of players that logged in for at least two consecutive days, starting from their first login date. Then divide the number by the number of players. All right, let me see. Again, I need to consider the first date, right? So if I do this, let me select player ID and minimum event date from the activity table, and I'll have to do a group by player ID, right? If I just do this, and I'll just get this back. Okay, first 25th, these dates are out of order. Okay, so I'll actually order by player ID and I'll order by event date. Should I just order by event date then? That's not gonna work. I know I had a syntax error. I caught it before you. Now we have 132. Okay. Now let's call this our subquery or our subtable. And then what do I need to do? I need to select round of the is it let's see. Yeah, so it's going to be count. I'll only count distinct player IDs because player ID is not the primary key. I will then divide that. So divide that count by select count. So count again distinct player ID from activity. So I'll grab all the players. Well, the count of all the players, I should say. I will then round that out by 2. So let's see. And it's called fraction. Fraction. From the activity table. From activity. But I'll only do it where the player ID. And this is important. What's the function? It's date sub. Date subtraction of event date is an interval of 1 day. Only 1 day difference to ensure I'm being consecutive. In, and then I'll push this forward. Operand should contain 1 column, where player ID and date subtract event date interval 1 day in. Select player ID, minimum event date from activity, group by player ID, order by event date. Operand should contain 1 column. Select round, count distinct player ID, divided by select count of distinct player ID. I think that's my first issue, should be here. Now let me see. That should be fine. From activity 2 as fraction from activity where player ID and the date, which I get by subtracting event date. And it says that operand should contain one column. It's not an ordering issue. What if I were to remove that? That can't be the issue, but no harm in trying. Operand should contain one column or columns. Ambiguous warning, isn't it? From activity where player ID and date subtract event date interval 1 day. Interval 1 day in the following. What does that mean? Operand should contain one column. My subquery is selecting 2 columns. I am selecting 2 columns, yeah, and I'm filtering 2 columns. So I should not have that issue because it should match 1 for 1. So player ID matches player ID. And then date subtract matches a minimum event date. I don't need to pass alias anywhere. My best assumption can be, do I need to move you up? Is that the issue? That can't be the issue. Let's see. So, select round count distinct player ID divided by the total number of distinct players from the activity table. Why is there 2? Do I need that? I have an array here. 1 parentheses, 2 parentheses, this closes distinct. My count is not closed. Okay, I need to close my count. Then I need to select count of distinct. From activity. From activity table, okay, where player ID and date subtract event date interval 1 day in atrocious spelling right there. Where is the error? Because that will give me a smaller table. I have 2 attributes in my smaller table. I am also cross-checking 2 attributes. Why do I keep on saying smaller? But it says operand should contain 1 column. I am also only taking 1 column. This could be the issue there. But then, boom, once it comes there, let me rewrite that, okay? This should give me an issue because I am taking 2 two columns and I'm only asking for one, yeah, of course that should give me an issue. But then I also want the event date as long as when I subtract event date of an interval of 1 day from activity, which means the issue is probably up here. Okay. Although it's not what if I were to do, nope, round count of distinct player ID divided by, now I do a select count of distinct player ID from activity rounded as 2 as fraction. There's an error in my SQL syntax. Okay, let's see. That closes off that. This closes off that. Which means count, and I'll wrap that. You still seem to have an issue here at line 3. Distinct player ID. Select count of distinct player ID. That's fine. Select count distinct distinct player ID, and then divide by the total counts of select count. You know, I have to get rid of this. Right. Select count of distinct player ID from activity, okay? I wrap that. And then I'll do count distinct player ID round divided from activity Now I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's even 10, 11. That's an issue, okay. So you do not match there. You match, you match, you match. That's what the issue is, okay. And I'll wrap that one in another set of parentheses. And there we go. And that wraps up today's video. We have completed basic aggregate functions with a mild poop break in between. It's always fun reading the comments and seeing what people say. Discussion. God first. What? Is there any reason why people post their answers here? Yeah, because they're silly. got stuck with this question. My code can pass for the testing case, but not the submission case. Help. Hope someone can help correct my code. Thank you a lot. Select round of count distinct player ID right. Multiply by 1.0. There's no point of you multiplying it because you multiply by 1 keeps the value the same. Select count distinct player ID from activity round off to 2. Okay, just as mine as fraction from. And then it select a player ID as player ID from activity A from activity B, where date difference A.event date and B.event date is 1 and A.player ID is equal to B.player ID. And then we have 7 replies and people doing CTEs. I missed the comment section where it's just jokes. But yeah, that is it for today.